So I lost the language when I was about 7 or 8. I fell off of a monkey bar, bit my tongue off, and they wired my mouth shut for about a month. And when they unwired my mouth, I had a speech impediment and I had to pick a language, English or Tagalog. And my father picked English because I am American. And I lost my Tagalog and I can't pronounce things very well anymore. That I
Do
came up to your table. I was I think, one of like 3 people who bought the whole photo package.
right.
And I came to your table to hand you this form, and you had all these books. And I said, "You're a publisher, or you wrote all these books?" And you said, "I'm a publisher." And I went, "Oh." And you're like, "Well, do you?" You asked me if I needed a publisher, and I said, "I don't need a publisher. I'm going to self-publish." Because my other publisher, Vertex Learning, went out of business, and I had to move all my they books. They can do their own, and so they all have written their own books. And for instance, like Sally Wurr, she has like a box set now of
Mhm.
her trilogies that it's amazing. And she and I are collaborating right now to do women's retreats at her retreat center out there in Beaver Creek, and also in her home in Highlands Ranch area. So we're collaborating more together because we jive well.
There's a lot of questions, but to be Dr. Michelle Mraz, you actually went through a lot of pain. And you share in your keynote that this is what you chose to overcome and to be a better version of yourself, is that no matter what trauma, no matter what happens in your life, that you choose how you take it in and how you take over that thing to make you stronger.
Of course.
Welcome to the Dr. Smiley Show. It is my pleasure and privilege to have one of the greatest partners I could ever ask to have, someone who sees vision and helps so many people create their reality. Dr. Michelle Mraz, welcome to the Dr. Smiley Show.
Thank you for having me.
It's about time. I mean, we only do about 100 shows since we've met, and I really wanted you to be my first show for the Dr. Smiley Show, but God said this is the day it's supposed to be, so we're doing it.
All righty. I'm ready for you. I'm trying to share it right now while we're live.
Well, this, as you know, is on the YouTube Dr. Smiley Show, and we're excited you're going to be in the first 10 shows. We plan to have 365 shows, and I wanted the peeps to know who you are and why you're such an amazing partner, a great speaker, and just a phenomenal human being. So, you know, a lot of people, to have the status and the impact you have, sometimes people have to work and on themselves, and they had to create this self that they love. And you are someone that's typically very happy, chooses happiness, and chooses really to see the good in people. So I couldn't ask for someone to be a better friend, not just a partner. Oh, and by the way, I'd like to, you published my partnership definition. And it was the first time it ever been published. I don't recall where, but it was in one of your books. And it said the definition of a perfect partnership is when two or more people agree in writing or verbally to compete to unconditionally give more than the other. Now,
That's in Pearls of Wisdom, actually.
pearls of wisdom. When your eyes got big, I was like, "Is this the royal?" All right. So you were. Let's take the audience to where you started your life.
That's a lot of years. Do you really want to go that far back?
Well, I want people to know where you're from and why "mabute" is such a popular expression in my life now.
Well, I was actually born in Trenton, New Jersey. And then when I was very young, like a couple of months old, we moved to the Philippines. So I grew up in my mother's homeland, and actually at Clark Air Base, Philippines. And I did not move to America till I was 15. So I never I knew America secondhand from the military base.
Gotcha. And
Yeah,
how long were you in the Philippines?
15 years.
And then you moved to.
Shreveport, Louisiana. My dad was military, and but there's a lot of other things that happened in that 15 years. I mean, we bounced into America. Our parents got separated, so we bounced to America. We lived in Louisiana, New Orleans, Ninth Ward in New Orleans for a little bit, and then we went up to Hartford, Connecticut, lived there for a year, and then our parents got back together again, and that's why we ended up in Shreveport. Um, and then we immediately went back to the Philippines. So I have like a 2 year gap in the Philippines where I was in bouncing around the United States while our parents were separated. but I didn't officially come to America until I was 15. And then we moved to Omaha, Nebraska.
Well, I do want to show that Tagalog is one of your languages that you speak, and I want to show that you're in a book. It's called the World Culture Book, and you are tagged as the representative of the Philippines. And if you can pronounce that for everybody, please.
Magpatuloy sa pagnagit.
And by the way, I'd like to commend you. That was very good pronunciation.
I'm terrible at it. I'm absolutely terrible at speaking my own native language, and I'm working on it. But for some reason, what is that? Duolingo doesn't have Tagalog.
No, it doesn't.
And I don't hang out with a whole bunch of Filipinos to learn it. And when I do, they all speak English. So picking up the language again is very difficult. So I lost the language when I was about 7 or 8. I fell off a monkey bar, bit my tongue off, and they wired my mouth shut for about a month. And when they unwired my mouth, I had a speech impediment, and I had to pick a language, English or Tagalog. And my father picked English because I am American. And I lost my Tagalog, and I can't pronounce things very well anymore.
Duolingo, if you're listening to us, first of all, you have one of the biggest fans of Duolingo that got me hooked on Duolingo. I do French and Spanish and Hebrew, and let's just say those other languages that I want to do. I barely spend enough time to say I'm confidently, but you spend a lot of time on Spanish.
Yes. And I still can't speak it. Actually, I probably can, but I need to be around people. I need to go to Spain and practice. But yeah, I'm like on 1,000.
Day.
Yeah, 1,900.
I remember was it around the first time we met that you started it? I mean, yeah. Because I saw you and you'd say, "Hey, I got to get my Duolingo," and you're on the plane or whatever, and it was just so fun to see you, muster through it. And then here I am. I just broke the big 200 block, and now I understand with the commitment.
Yeah, it's like I am not breaking that streak. There's no way I'm breaking that streak, and I don't like using freezes. So, anyways, has it only? I mean, I met you in 2021, didn't I? In July of 2021 at
if not 2020, yes. So you may have started Duolingo. Well, 10,000.
That's okay. That's okay. Don't focus on it because I really suck at it still. I mean, I can read it, I can understand it. Not so great at speaking it. You've been using the speaking more than I have, the conversational stuff. But I'm really good at writing it, but I'm afraid to speak it still. I'm still working on that.
Well, the good news is we've known each other longer than Duolingo because the math doesn't add up. So
yes, but to say it couldn't be that way. But anyways, I met you in July 2021. Actually, you predicted I was going to win the Ultimate Speaker, and after that, I came up to your table. I was I think one of like 3 people who bought the whole photo package.
Right.
And I came to your table to hand you this form, and you had all these books. And I said, "You're a publisher, or you wrote all these books?" And you said, "I'm a publisher." And I went, "Oh." And you're like, "Well, you asked me if I needed a publisher." And I said, "I don't need a publisher. I'm going to self-publish." Because my other publisher, Vertex Learning, went out of business, and I had to move all my books. So I was going to make my own brand and publish my own books. And you're like, "Well, I don't just publish. I'm a marketer." And I went, "That I can use." And that is how we connected. Is like, I don't need you to publish me, but I need you to market me. And you have helped me immensely in my career because of the way I get out there and the way my books are just gorgeous. Can you show? My first book with you was Hold My Crown, Women of Grit.
Let's show that. Let's show that one. And by the way, that became our trophy cover to show everybody. And it was interesting because you had a different idea and we worked through it. And next thing we knew, we had this beautiful cover.
Yeah, I wanted something like this. Oh, you're sharing. Sorry. You got a lot of things up, man.
Well, I'll tell you what, I didn't mean to share it like that. So we got to keep the surprises here. So let me
okay, yeah. This is what I originally wanted. Oh, well, never mind.
Oh, no. Show it. Go ahead.
This is what I originally wanted, something to that effect.
Mm-hmm.
And then Ken came up with the crown that was on my head. And he did that.
And the rest is history because this did very well. It actually caused a division of compilations to occur for Perfect Publishing because, you were the magic host that attracted all these people that wanted to tell their story and have really a great experience.
Well, and what's also beautiful about Hold My Crown, Women of Grit Share Stories of Resilience, is it helped all of those women in that book realize that they've got the power and that they can do their own. And so they all have written their own books. And for instance, like Sally Wurr, she has like a box set now of
Mm-hmm.
her trilogies that it's amazing. And she and I are collaborating right now to do women's retreats at her retreat center out there in Beaver Creek, and also in her home in Highlands Ranch area. So we're collaborating more together because we jive well. I love Sally.
Well, actually, since you love her so much, she is, I believe, in a photo that I could show of her launching her book. Is that? Yep, she's right next to you. So I'm going to show that right now. This was you at the Library of Congress, and she launched her very first book that day.
Oh yeah, she's standing right next to me.
And that was really a triumphant experience because Mr. Tony Barnett said, you live right near DC. Do you know how beautiful the Library of Congress is? And I actually had to say I didn't. It's one of the most beautiful buildings in the United States.
It's gorgeous. So what else do you want to ask me? Because my you asked me, where did I start? I started overseas and had to learn American culture and all of that. And so the woman everyone sees now, they think I'm so polished and everything, but I learned it by making lots of mistakes to be this woman. Because I came to America, I didn't even know how to use a vending machine, didn't know how to use a pay phone, and just the things I had to learn to adjust to be in America are interesting. As I'm writing my book right now, I'm writing my whole life book, and my plan is to not make it. It's going to be a screenplay more than a book, and going back and going through all the details of my life, it's like, my gosh, I had to learn how to be an American. I mean, I had to learn how to be. Yeah, I had so much culture shock. But what's your next question?
Well, there's a lot of questions, but to be Dr. Michelle Mraz, you actually went through a lot of pain. And you share in your keynote that this is what you chose to overcome and to be a better version of yourself, is that no matter what trauma, no matter what happens in your life, that you choose how you take it in and how you take over that thing to make you stronger.
Of course, my motto was be the best version of you unapologetically, and I didn't come up with that until I was in my 50s. And actually, the young man who did my intro video, which is pretty awesome, by the way, who did my intro video, Jay. Oh, I wonder if I can get you my intro video. It's on my YouTube channel. But anyways,
We can put a link on after this.
okay. Because he created this intro video, and at the end of the intro video, he said, "You know what you while we're making it, he goes, you are unapologetic on who you are." And I'm like, "Ooh, I like that." And so I picked it up then. But writing my book, I realized there were a lot of traumas that I have just ignored. I don't consider them traumas. And to give you a heads up, I mean, I was in the Philippines when Marcos took over. And I was also in the Philippines when Marcos took over, horrible things were happening in the Philippines. There was a lot of riots and things. But then when there was a big transition of government, I was there for the riots too. So I saw some pretty horrible things as a young child that usually will cripple somebody. And it's interesting. I didn't know I had this motto in me until I had no other choice but to accept that's how I do things. I I would fall, or was that so I saw people die. I saw bullets and walls and blood. I mean, it's horrible. And as I got older, other bad things happened. And at one point, I was human trafficked for a year and a half of my life. And that alone is traumatic and horrific. And I never realized that because of the traumas I saw as a kid, it helped me get through that human trafficking section of my life without, getting on drugs and hiding in a corner and being afraid of everybody, because I saw bad things and I lived through them. And so when this bad thing happened, I knew I was going to tooth and nail going to live through it. And not until after my brain injury, which kept me paralyzed for, well, not paralyzed, incoherent. I couldn't walk or talk without assistance for 2.5 years. And then my breast cancer after that. And then recently my stroke. I didn't realize that I had that, a piece of me that would never give up. I always just thought, I'm moving and oh, lucky me, I got out. And looking back and writing my book, my life, it's like, holy smokes, I had in me, no matter what, if I'm not broken in half, I'm going to keep crawling. I'm going to find a way. And it served me as I got older, and especially after the brain injury and the breast cancer, that I couldn't give up. And I would accept myself as I am in whatever state I'm in. And that's a power. That is powerful right there. Because a lot of people beat themselves up for who they didn't become or what they're not or what they're not successful at. If I stopped looking at what I couldn't do after my brain injury or the things I was afraid of because of the human trafficking, and focused on only the things I knew I could do and only the things I did very well and that I can improve on. And by focusing on the power in me, I was able to leave about a lot of those insecurities. And so if you're out there watching right now, that is the power of resiliency. You stop focusing on what you don't have and focus on what you do have and develop it. And what happens is all those things that you don't have become, you don't care about them anymore. The things you don't have don't matter. It's what you have now and what can you grow. And that is what I have realized is my superpower, is I focus on the good. I focus on the positive, and I move strongly in that direction.
So you're an international keynote speaker and you have so many different stories you share on stage. And I guess I've never heard you take a deep dive into how you were trafficked. And I don't need to take a deep dive with the conversation, but I wanted to ask this question. You come from a big family, and I'm guessing, I'm not sure, but no one else in your family had this happen to them. Okay. How does one accidentally slip into that danger?
Well, I was a good girl. I really loved my daddy, loved Jesus and America too. And my thing was, I was working 4 jobs. I was full time at school as an industrial engineer at University of Nebraska. My father had kicked me out at right before I turned 17, so I was still 16, and so I was on my own. My girlfriend helped me sign for an apartment, so I was under 18. I couldn't sign any documents, so she helped me get an apartment. So I was in my own apartment at 17 and a half, 18, and I'm working 4 different jobs. Well, one of my jobs, I was a waitress, and all the other kids still lived at home. And one night they're like, "Oh, Michelle, we have a late start tomorrow. Why don't we all hang out tonight? Let's go to your house." And I said, "Okay, but I have to be at work at 7 in the morning. So you guys can all hang out. We'll play cranium, but you have to be gone by 1." And they're like, "Oh, okay." And so all my server friends came to my apartment that night and we were playing cranium. How I got slipped into this is something I talk about on stage at conferences that deal with human trafficking. I knew everybody in that room, but one of the boys invited a new boy that no one else knew. He had just moved into town and he didn't want the guy to be alone. So he invited him to a young woman's house who lived alone. So he brought this boy and he blended well. I mean, everybody loved him. He was so funny. He was hilarious. He's from New York. Oh my God. He had everybody laughing the whole time. But when everyone left at 1 o'clock, he came back at 1:15, 1:30 and asked to come into my house to get his coat. And I said, "I don't have your coat." And he said, "Yes, you do. It's up there in your closet." And I'm talking to him through the door. Well, I'm a poor college student. I don't even have a chair to stand on. I'm only 5 foot. So I couldn't even reach his coat. I unlocked the door. I unlocked the door for him to get his coat. And when I did that, he took a gun out of the coat and then attacked me. And then when he left me at like 5 or 6 in the morning, I called the police and asked for help. And they thought I was prank calling. They thought I was mad at my boyfriend. So they hung up on me.
Mm.
I called again and they said, stop wasting our time if you're upset with your boyfriend. And they hung up on me. And so that story is actually very long and convoluted. But that next day, after I tried for help 4 or 5 times, everyone ignored me. And then that night I went to work. I had forgotten. They had just hired him as a waiter at the restaurant. And so when I walked in the door, he put his arm around me and said, you tell anybody what happened and I'll slaughter them all. And so I never told anyone because I didn't want anyone to die on my behalf.
Mm.
And so the bad thing about being human trafficked is I don't care how smart you are, the amount of torture you endure is beyond what your brain can handle. And my brain shut off in order to survive. And it wasn't until much later that I realized that I wasn't alone, and that because when I thought I was alone, it was horrible. But when I realized that there was God was still there and protecting me, and he gave me strength. And what you have to understand is I stopped believing in God because of what I was going through. And one day when I was crying out because all the God, please stop him didn't ever work. I changed my plea, and I heard a voice that told me, you're smarter than him. And I got full of strength, and I plotted a way to get away. And I didn't muscle this guy because I'm 5 foot nothing. You think I'm 5 foot nothing now? You should have saw me back when I was 17, no, 18 at that point. And it still hurts me to think about that time period because I was so scared. And I was afraid when I got older to ever share that story because when I did tell it to some people, they would do, are you an idiot? You should have killed him in his sleep. And I'm like, I was 17 and I was being horrifically, you if you're listening to this and you're thinking, Michelle, you're an idiot, you should have killed the guy or you should have run away. You have no idea what I was going through. Do not assume that you know at your age what you would do at 17. Because at my age, I would fight more, but I would have been dead.
Mm-hmm.
And my thing was, I remember listening to all those PSAs from the police about what to do if someone hurts you or someone grabs you or whatever. And I was like calculating my head really quickly. How do I do this? Okay, if I do it that way, he'll kill me. Okay, if I do it that way, he'll kill me. So I kept calculating how to get away without dying. That was my thing, without dying. And I had to wait until I could outsmart him enough to get away without dying. And that's my short version of my horror story.
Yes, because you are a keynote speaker and you're brought in for all kinds of different messages. Um, did you ever find out what happened to him?
I do not care.
Do not care. Well, the only reason I ask is it would be nice to know that he never will do it again.
I think from the way but track record he was in, someone killed him. And if he ever did go to prison, someone killed him. Or if he's running around, I will be very shocked if he's still around. One of my PTSDs that I found out after my brain injury, we thought my fear thing was about my car accident. I have PTSD from, I thought, my car accident. But after all the therapy I went through, we found out it wasn't from the car accident. The PTSD actually wasn't even from all the rapes. It was from the fact that I got away and no one stopped him.
Hmm.
So my biggest PTSD was I failed to stop a predator from hurting other people. And so I have to block that idea out of my head that I let him go because I didn't let him go. I ran for my life. I couldn't save anyone else. And when I did go to the police, they ignored me. So I did try to help. And so even at 55, I have to keep working on that I got away and didn't save anyone. And he's out there doing more. And I had to get that out of my head and do, no, the universe stopped that, because I did everything I could to stop him and I couldn't. I just had to get away. So my hope is that he's not doing that anymore because someone else stopped him.
Right. So I did my memoirs last year, and you were invited to my 60th birthday party, and you said some very beautiful words. And that's one thing that you have a real skill set in, is the orchestration, the curation of clarity, and how to put your words together in a very powerful way. And you've invited me to your boot camps, in which not only I have benefited, I've watched people that uh, really had no command of the stage have different degrees of confidence, and really feeling more comfortable and more of a desire to stand up on a stage. And I think that's a really big shift in the human experience, is that you are a follower, or you're playing the game of life, but when you stand on a stage, you're actually influencing, and you're causing yourself to be a power that you've never seen or experienced before. So your boot camps are unbelievably great.
Thank you.
I wanted to show a photo pretty close to the time that you had won, and then you invited me out to, where is this location?
Garden of the Gods in Colorado Springs.
And we met all kinds of amazing people there. And this was a happy moment, but you also had some other things that you had to overcome to get to that stage. And that was a car accident that gave you a brain injury. And since I
have a
had,
traumatic brain injury. I'm missing 3 parts of my brain.
yes.
Actually, 4 parts of my brain.
How many parts are there?
I don't know.
Okay, I was going to say if there's 5, I hope there's at least 20.
Well, no, because they're little segments. So it's not, they're parts of my brain. So my frontal lobe over my left ear, the back of my head, and my 2 hemispheres, that colossum that covers your brain, had disconnected.
Well, I don't know if there's such a thing as a minor traumatic brain injury, but I think if you lose your short-term memory, I got clocked, and I had a coma. I mean, I wasn't coma, I'm sorry. I was out for 30 minutes, and I had what I thought was almost permanent short-term memory, and I had to study cards and everything. So I relate to it being way bigger than.
But to say, because I was in and out of consciousness for 2.5 years. I kept functioning, which
Right.
is funny, because I would wake up in the morning and I would act like I was fine. And I would go do my things. And at 1 o'clock, my brain would stop, and then I would just fall over. And so people during that time, people thought I was fine, but only my husband can tell everyone she was not there. And I had a 16-second memory. I mean, I did my TEDx with a 16-second memory. Brain injuries are,
Some would think that was the shortest TEDx they've ever heard of.
well, the thing is I had long-term memory. My
Okay.
long-term was fine. So 16-second is, if you walked up to me right before I came on stage and said, don't forget to, I have no idea what you said.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And that TED Talk happened in India, if I recall.
No, it happened in Colorado Springs. It blew up in India. So I had my TEDx in Colorado Springs in October of 2016. And in the middle of my brain injury, didn't even know it was that bad. I did a TEDx, and then did the TEDx, and then blacked out for 2 months. And then when I came back up, I started writing my first book, Eat, Drink, and Be Merry. And my TEDx blew up in India. I don't know why, but it did. And I think Sharvan Tedla, he's the one who was running it. I think he was a professor at a school, Osamia University, in India. And I think when he shared it to his students, it exploded at his school. And the long story short, when you get out of that, I ended up going to India for the Women's Economic Forum. Same time, that same month, I won the John Maxwell Culture Award. And then like 2 weeks later, I went to India, to New Delhi, for the Women's Economic Forum. And when I went to India, all these young girls knew who I was. They were chasing me down the hallway and taking pictures. And I had no idea why they knew me. And they're like, oh, we watched your TEDx. And I'm like, oh, I mean, I had no idea it had done that. And the reason I
is your
want
TEDx on your YouTube channel?
Yeah.
How do people see it?
Go to youtube.com/Michelle Mras.
That easy, huh?
Or
So
if you go,
it's
or
the
if you go
Michelle
to my,
Mras channel?
or go to my website,
Mm-hmm.
and it says videos, you click it, it's the first video.
Okay. Well, we want a lot of people to know where they can see all your TED Talks or anything that you've done as a speaker on your YouTube channel.
Yeah. And the thing is I've got a lot of talks in there, but I don't put all my talks on YouTube anymore because what I found were people were taking them and just using my talks and not hiring me.
I
And
see.
so I don't put full things out anymore because it's been abused.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, we have a recent accolade that you have achieved, and that is that the in Qatar you received the Ambassador of Joy. Oh, peace. I keep seeing joy because you bring so much joy to the world.
Ambassador for Peace for the United Nations. And so did you.
Yes.
We
And
won.
this is a game changer because this is probably 50 trips we've done together, if not more. Maybe even, I don't know. I don't think we've hit 100 trips together, but I wanted to just say that your PTSD that you have, thank goodness that our partnership works so well and that Brian Swanson is such a fantastic road warrior with you as well. But you will not get into an Uber or any type of car alone. You must have someone that protects you and uh, handles the talent.
Yeah. Because I mean, I am 55 years old and the fear of someone hurting me or coming from behind still is a threat. And so if you're out there and you're beating yourself up because you still get triggered by car horns or the sound of an engine, because I still freak out when I hear an engine, a certain particular engine, don't be. You've gone through something bad, something that your body does not know how to process well. Go find someone to help you process it. I've been working on this for many years, and I still, although I have a black belt and I concealed carry, I mean, I've got things to protect myself. I'm pretty tough. I still want someone to watch my back, and it's okay.
And by the way, you don't have to be a woman. I've been to 104 countries, and the one thing I'll tell you is travel in groups. Groups,
Always.
groups as a pack protect each other. And if you even have one extra person, you can't be the mark because it's just too much. It's so much harder.
Well, and my other thing is my book, Ken published my book, Hold My Crown, Women of Grit, Your Stories of Resilience. And we met this wonderful woman, actually, when I came off the stage after I won the Ultimate Speaker. She ran up to me and she says, I want you to be on the cover of my book, of my magazine. And I said, what magazine? She says, I don't have one yet, but I want you on the cover. And I said, okay. And I just blew it off. Well, years later now, Ken and I published my book, and he has been talking to this young lady. And at this point, she has started her magazine. Now, here's the thing. Ken says, Michelle, I've got a present for my son, and I want you to come with me to Times Square, New York, so I want you to help me capture this for him. And I said, okay. And in my mind, I'm screaming, I don't want to go to New York. The guy who took me was from New York. I don't want to go to New York, but I wanted to break through my fear. So I went to New York to help film this poster come up on the Times Square billboard. I wanted to film Ken with his son's book. And instead, mine came up.
And
Unapologetic.
you've been to New York 12 or 13 times, and you've seen different books and different experiences. We have, of course, your CD as well, but this was one of the first. This was probably the third one, I think. This is about the third time
Mhm.
there because I didn't want to
Yeah,
show.
because Hold My Crown was the first one. It
Yeah, and
was
I didn't
the
want to show that
first
because
book out.
everyone's already seen that. But recently, and I would say that's probably about a year ago, we got.
I launched my album. Is that what you're
Yes, you
talking
launched.
about?
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
launched my album October 17th of 2023, actually.
Here we go.
And that was on Times Square. That was amazing.
Yes, and we started getting bigger and bigger billboards, and that one really commands the entire area. I mean, you can see Pele Soccer. That is actually a big sign there, and how big. So we've helped people get social proof. We've helped people feel like a celebrity, and most importantly, we've had groups of people support each other's success, so they get a lot more reach.
Well, what I love about that album cover is one, my podcast partner, Brian Swanson for Denim and Pearls, he created that and put it up because he was the one putting all the books up for you. And he put in one for me with my CD. And that thing, when it came up, the way he had made the lighting on the image and everything, it lit up all of Times Square. I mean, the whole place turned, oh my gosh, it was amazing. You could not miss that album cover. And
They thought it was New Year's Eve again.
I know it was crazy bright. And I'm thrilled. And that album's done really well. I mean, I haven't put it digital. It's only a physical. And then you can download, once you buy the physical, you can get a digital download. But I've gone through over 1,600 CDs.
Well, why don't you share with the audience this special producer you attracted?
Oh, I didn't attract, well, I guess I did attract him. I got discovered by a little group, someone from a little group called the Commodores. That's how he told me, a little group called the Commodores. His name is Thomas Dawson Jr. He is one of the founding members of the Commodores and the current keyboardist. So he discovered me actually at my boot camp here in Colorado Springs and said, "Young lady, you're a singer." And I said, "I'm a karaoke singer." He said, "Nope, I can hear it in your voice. You're a singer. Get into my studio." And it's a beautiful story. He heard my voice, he loved it, and he said I have a very unique, soothing voice and I can sing anything. So he said, "Do not categorize yourself as a jazz singer, as a pop singer. You are a singer, you are an entertainer." So we are supposed to be doing another album this year, but I haven't written all my life story songs yet, so he's waiting on me.
Do you want to do a 30-second or 1 minute version of one of your favorite songs on that album?
Oh, to get away from the mic. I'm loud. Summertime, and living is easy. Fish are jumping, and the cotton is high. There, that's enough.
That's good. That's good. It's a good teaser to hear the rest.
Yeah, I'm quite
But you kind of like karaoke a little bit.
I love karaoke. I actually tell my speakers to do karaoke. And the reason why I tell my clients that is if you can get in front of people and do something you normally do in private, you don't let anyone else see you. If you can go out there and say something or do anything on a microphone in front of a crowd of people who are expecting you to suck, it will raise your confidence level that you'll be able to talk about subjects that you love without fear. And so they're like, "I don't do karaoke. I don't care what you do. Go up there and sing Manama Not Beep 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 Beep, but get out there." Or if you even just do, that tequila song, the tequila, that one, because just getting in front of a group of skeptics basically is a powerful tool to get yourself past any fear of your expertise. I'm like, if you are an expert in something, if that's the fear of speaking is the thing that's stopping you from sharing your gift, get in front of a group of people that do not care about you, do not know you, and sing anything or speak anything. And once you realize that they'll support you, you can share what you love.
Well, because this is a green show, I'll just say you don't need to say when your next boot camp is, but when you do boot camps, what do you find is the you've heard from people giving testimonials is the most beneficial or the best tips you've given?
That's difficult. And they're all over the board because it affects my trainings affect people differently. And I have different levels of people in that room. But I would think even the seasoned speakers, I'm very good at listening and concise, making things more concise, more powerful. And so when one of the big compliments and the big takeaways is, I didn't realize I used more words than I needed to do.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize I could say my 30-minute talk in like 7 minutes and make it so powerful I can almost do it in an elevator. The other thing is, the other comment I get is, "Michelle helped me get comfortable with my body on stage. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not afraid anymore." And then I just saw him last night, Marshall Dumlau. He's the one who wrote Kadima.
Yeah.
And he was a military speaker, so he was very, very strict and stoic. And after he went through my boot camp, he smiles and he laughs and he's like, "I have so much fun on stage." I mean, he is always out speaking around the world. And I love to hear stories where I've helped people embrace who they are so they can share their love and passion of whatever their topic is or their product is to a bigger audience. So what did you take away, Ken? You were at my boot camp.
Oh, I took away a lot of stuff. Main thing I took away was just the pause and how to use the voice and structuring the talks so that there were nice blends and transitions. Speaking less and saying more. Those are some of the big ones.
Good.
And just the feeling of anchoring in what is natural, like talk from your heart. And
Power of story, Ken.
the power of story.
People want to connect with the human behind all the mess, all the fluff. They People don't buy a product from a person because they like the product. They buy the product because they like the person. And if you can share a piece of you on why you love whatever that product is, may it be, books or a nonprofit, whatever it is you do, if you can share the why it moves you, it will connect with people who have the same why.
We didn't take advantage of a segue.
Hey, your screen is bouncing. What happened?
Oh, I think it's because I'm looking for a shot that I wanted to show.
Oh,
Yeah, this is the shot because we were talking about Janelle Harris,
oh yes.
and she put you on the cover.
She finally put me, she finally got her magazine. Can you see it over there?
I can see it.
Okay. She finally had her magazine running and rolling, and she put me on the cover.
And that's Janelle on the left.
Janelle on the left.
And
Janelle.
she has had numerous cover reveals just recently in DC, and her events are becoming Hollywood-esque. I mean, they're just
Not becoming, they are Hollywood-esque. I
oh,
mean, remember when you first put my book up, it was Jody Watley that was up, and I was like, oh my gosh, I love Jody Watley. I can't believe Jody Watley's up there. And as I'm talking about Jody Watley, and I turned around to tell Janelle, you have Jody Watley? My cover popped up. And Janelle said, Michelle, it's you. And I went, huh? She says, it's you. I said, it's Jody Watley. She says, turn around. And I turned around and my book was up there. I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah. So it was phenomenal. But Janelle brings in some amazing people. And we're planning on doing an event with her in August, aren't we?
yes, in the DC area. She's secured, I think, a Marriott in the DMV area, Tyson's Corner area.
Tyson's Corner. Yeah. So if you are interested in what we're doing in August, it's on my website. There's an image of it, and then you can maybe join us in Tyson Square.
Yeah, and just we're doing an event together where three people really love what we do, and we love how we collaborate together. And I think there is the magazine and the social aspect of that. There's the book, which is more the legacy piece, and then there's you with the bring it to the stage. Bring it to the stage.
Yeah, because I talk about, people are like, oh, I can do this and I can do that, but I don't know how to present myself and I don't know how to talk about it. That's me.
Right.
I actually do mini trainings on how to command a room, how to take the room with just your presence. And I do a lot of different things, but that's what I'm going to be training in the event in August.
And you were
I can't get my brain in there.
And there's so many photos that we would spend more time digging photos out, but you were also acknowledged a couple years back by Sharon Doyle with the International Women's Gala.
Yes.
And
then you don't want to go there. My husband made a spreadsheet of all of my accolades, and it is like a 15-page sheet, Excel spreadsheet of all my books, then all my magazine articles. I mean, it's insane. I don't believe I've done all of that, but he's got dates, links. Yeah. We don't want to go through my accolades. But if you're interested, go to my website because we just put up an image. One of our new cover designers, Daniel Pedamonte, he made an image of my bigger accolades, and he put it on an image. So we put it on my website. I'm like, thank you, Daniel. That's beautiful. But yeah. Oh, I meant R as in Perfect Publishing. He's one of the new cover designers.
Oh, he's phenomenal. And that's the cool thing about our travels is one of us meets somebody, introduces the other, and it becomes like a volleyball of how many times we can help that person, and it ends up being a triangle of just abundance.
Well, right now, I don't think you know this, is you introduced me to Joseph Twerp. And I ended up going to Croatia with him and his wife, Mary Lee, last year. And then he invited me to go back this year because we are working on, we're doing a mastermind on the yacht. And I eventually want to bring my boot camp onto that yacht in Croatia. But this time I'm doing it with him with a whole group of like lawyers and doctors. But he has a new software. We call her Grace. And Grace is an amazing, amazing tool. I would say AI, but she sounds more like me. She's
Hmm.
funny. She has an attitude, but incredibly efficient. And so he is launching this out, and well, he has already launched it, and we're doing a mastermind on how to develop her more. It's exciting.
It is exciting. I think what you've helped the company and the vision of Perfect Publishing is enhancing the experience and really living.
Yeah.
Because when you drop a book, it is very analogous to having a baby. That's an experience, but it's not the whole experience. And you have wonderful children, and they're wonderful because of how much experiences you've given them and how much you include them in your world travels. And we have just gotten back from Qatar. We're going to Dubai. We're going to Ghana. We're going to Nigeria, and all these places were just the fact that, hey, you have authority, show the world your message, show up.
Well, and the reason I'm going to all these different places is, well, one, the first one that started it all is Women's Economic Forum. You know all my friends from that too.
Yeah.
But then the next one is because you and I connected. You invited me to Atlanta to meet a person, and through that person doing an event, I got introduced to Princess Moradun Ogulana. Ogulana.
Ogunlana.
Ogulana.
Ogunlana.
And she happens to have a daughter who lives in your area. So I connected her to you.
Right.
And she's been bringing me to all her events. And she's the one who nominated us for Ambassadors for Peace because she saw the good we brought to the world. Now, all of these connections, Ken and I are very good at volleying connections. And I connect him to people I know he can help. And he does the vice versa for me. And for some reason, all the people who keep connecting to me keep saying, let's come to another country. I can, come on. And so, Ken and Brian, come on. But that's the whole thing about partnerships and friendships. You want the best for the person you care about.
Mm.
And I love to mention this to people because a lot of people get locked in relationships have to be perfect all the time. And oh, I can be upset with that person. Yes, you can, but you love them through it. Okay. Ken and I have not gotten along perfectly since 2021, right?
I thought we did.
We've had our ups and downs.
Did we? Oh, okay. Okay, I'll agree. Oh, is this our first argument?
It's our third, actually. The first one was, I don't want to go down that dark alley in New York. Come on, Michelle, but I don't want to go down that dark alley in New York. And then we go down the dark alley in New York, and Ken like makes friends with all the gang members. It's like, who does that? But anyways, yes, this is our third. But my thing is, love people through their differences. And if you have to love them from a distance, then that's okay. And I have many, many people in my life who I now love from a distance because when they're close to me, they mess up my energy and I can't be the best version of me unapologetically. And remember, that's my big thing. Be the best version of you unapologetically. And so some of those people, I still care for them. And so I'll go have coffee with them, but I'll keep my time.
I just
So,
remembered our second argument because I apologized to you for not being unapologetic, and you really had a little issue with that.
oh, really?
And now you're going to get upset about this, but I'm apologizing that we had an argument about how many arguments.
About being, but
Hey,
that's okay.
I want to acknowledge you for something. This is something I was going to do near the end of the show, and we are kind of coming to a close. I do.
Already.
Well, I want to ask you my 5 questions, but I wanted to say something to you that I don't think I can say or have ever said or ever been able to say in my entire life, and that is this: I was a DJ for a very long time, and then I became an author because of my mom. I became a publisher, more so because of you and my son and the pandemic. And I became a speaker more because of you than anybody else. but this one's the biggie. This is the first time I owned the identity world leader, world ambassador of joy, global leader, global thinker. I'm telling you, the way I behave and the way I think and the way I play now, it is unprecedented. I've never, ever done shows this big with so many big people. And it's because I feel comfortable.
Good.
Yes.
Good, because you should. The Keep Smiling movement, when you told me about it, I got lit up because the world needs more smiles. I smile constantly and people think I'm faking it. I'm like, no, I'm just happy to be alive. I'm happy to be above ground. And I love to share smiles because you can smile at someone who looks like they're having the most miserable day, and I will smile and they will smile back. And some people will come back to me and say, thank you for smiling at me. I
That's right.
needed it. And so when you hand out those smile cards, Keep Smiling cards, you have them all the different languages and accents. Keep smiling. Hey,
Oh,
well,
and then you were the one who perpetuated the New York one.
yeah, hey, you keep smiling. But the thing is I love that movement. And I'm so glad that Princess Oglano uh, Mordun, she saw that too. And that's why she nominated you to be in the ambassador for
Peace.
peace with me, because it originally was me, and then when you were there running around the room while I was emceeing that one event in New York, she's like, I love Dr. Smiley. I said, I do too. She says, he needs to be recognized for all the beautiful things he does. I said, I think he should too. She says, do you think it'll be okay if I should do that? I said, do. And so she put you in because you are changing the world very subtly with the Keep Smiling movement. And I honestly would like to blow it up more. I want to go bigger. And my thought is we keep bringing you to all these different countries as a publisher, but we keep bringing more books out. And that 401c thing that we're building with this will change the world one smile at a time.
Yes, the 501c is just a new draft of a new impact campaign that we intend to bring more to the world. And I'm glad you've seen that no matter where you are and no matter what language you hand it out, humanity operates the same. They see a smile, they feel a smile, they feel love, and that is the most
It's
beautiful
that
thing.
it's that energy of a smile.
Yeah,
It's not a it's
exactly.
the energy of that. Oh my gosh, I love you for being who you are.
So, are you ready for the rapid fire?
Sure.
So, these are the questions that I have predicted help the audience the most to become a version of the guest. In other words, this is your program. So, what
Okay.
book changed your life?
Changed my life.
Mm-hmm.
I Know Why Cage Bird Sings by Maya Angelou.
What movie inspires you?
What Dreams May Come.
What song gets you going the most?
Depends on which mood. It's I'm a woman. It's something I love the song so much. Yes, I do. I do. Okay.
I definitely have heard you do that one, and it gets the whole room going. Who's your hero?
Honestly, my grandmother. My grandmother, Consuelo Garcia Evangelista. She was the mother of 16 children. She was my grandma, my mom's side. And the older I get, the more and more I'm completely awed by what she managed to do.
Who is someone you'd like to meet you haven't met?
Dead or alive?
Do both.
Alive, Cara Burnett. I love that woman. And dead, passed away, Robin Williams.
And going back to the books, since you've done just a few, which book of yours do you like the most that you give to people?
Unapologetic.
And then I'm going to predict that your memoirs that you do will be your favorite.
It,
When I did my 60th book, it became not just my focus, it represented everything, all 59 books.
well, and the reason why my memoirs are going to be huge. One of your editors and the in charge of the AI stuff, writing stuff, um, Robert Bernay. he's helping me write my memoirs. And at this point, he's like, this needs to be a screenplay because holy smokes, woman, you've gone through a lot. And so we're writing it together because my brain can't focus on everything around it. So he's helping me put it together. But that book has made me realize my resiliency started very young, and I didn't realize it.
Are you going to have resilience in the title?
Hmm?
Are you going to have resilience in the title?
Probably in the subtitle.
Mm-hmm.
Because right now he wants to name it, Why Aren't You Smiling?
That's funny.
He says, I don't know how you're still smiling. He goes, so your book should be your face and why aren't you smiling?
Yeah, that's not going to work, but nice try, Robert. Um, what is what's the launch date you predict?
Mm-mm.
No prediction.
He wants it done by my birthday, by
I,
October.
I will tell you, Robert, I want that too.
Yeah, he wants it done by my birthday. He wants a launch
Yeah.
on my birthday. And I'm like, well, we've got to get the timeline done with the book and then get with Perfect Publishing to figure out when we can get it out. But he wants it launched on my birthday this year.
He's a smart man.
Yeah. I'm like, that soon?
What quote do you live by?
I wrote it. Change is an emotional journey. It's not rainbows and butterflies in a field of daisies. Change is uncomfortable and it challenges you to be the best, well, to find the best version of you, the beauties and the possibilities.
What are you most thankful for?
Breathing.
What's a question I didn't ask a partner in a beautiful show like this that needs to be asked?
How can I best serve you?
Answer.
I want you to answer. I'm asking you.
How can I best serve? I will say the best thing you could do is do more events where you attract people to find their voice and to find their courage. That's, but what I'm asking you is there a question I didn't ask that you wish had been included in this show?
How can I best serve you?
Okay, that is the question.
So I always think that's the best question to ask anybody.
Hmm.
And how can I best serve everyone else?
Mm-hmm. Whatever would be the thing that was missing from the show that's now included.
I have found that people look at me and think I'm so out there that they can't, I'm like a star, a shooting star that they can't reach. And what I want people to realize, so I'm not even answering the question, what how you can best serve me is realize I'm a human. I'm a regular gal. I'm really nice and I'm very approachable. And I want, if you're looking at me right now doing, hey, she's an amazing lady, but she's out of my reach, I can't talk to her, understand, polar opposite, right, Ken?
100%.
And I am here to serve. I love helping people get to their next level. My only ask is don't take advantage of me because of my nicety, but understand I am nice, but I'm not foolish. So keep that in mind. Come see me if you need me.
How do
Right.
people
And I'll answer.
how do people reach you?
Go to my website. It's really the best way to go, michellemras.com. And every button is there. Every link that you could ever want to know about me is there. And that way you have one point of contact. And if you subscribe, you always know where I will be.
Well, thank you, Michelle, for being on the Dr. Smiley Show. And most importantly, thank you for being a partner, a friend, and I will say the person that I miss the most, my mom, a cheerleader, a person who cares about bringing the best out of their friend.
Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you for finding me.
Yes, we have many more things to do. And the cool part is it's only heading up. So, for those of you who want to see and meet Michelle, there have been some name drops and some event drops that you can look up. And whether on the website or not, reach out. Dubai, Philippines, Ghana, Nigeria, Tanzania,
New York.
New York, and even the Library of Congress right in our backyard. If you want to experience something that you almost cannot even explain because you come alive, this is a woman that will help you really fine tune it, create a social proof campaign that allows you to perpetuate the impact you want to have in the world. So this is the Dr. Smiley Show. Dr. Michelle Mras, thank you very much for spending some time with us.
Thank you so much for having me.